I always introduce myself as the prodigal son, you know, because I grew up in a church. Then I went as far away as I could and then got reeled back in. I don't do Christian rock, but I'm a Christian that does rock.
You know, I grew up in a Christian household. My dad was a pastor, and he was an evangelist for 25 years, and you know, did all that. And I used to go up and do missionary work with him with the Apaches, you know, in Arizona. My grandfather was a pastor for 75 years. So, you know,
So
I grew up in a
family.
Christian home, yeah, and my wife's father is a Baptist pastor. So I was like, we were PKs, you know, preacher's kids, married each other. So I always refer to myself as the real prodigal son. Because, I mean, I went out and the Lord let me do everything. Maybe he didn't let me, but allowed it, you know, and then just started reeling me back in, you know, saying, you know, okay, you've seen enough. Now, let's you know, let's bring you back to where you belong. And you know, when you get out there and you realize that you've had every car, you've had every house, and then all that, you realize that that's not the answer. That there's a great big nothing out there at the end of that. So the materialism doesn't mean anything, you know. And a lot of people say that there's a big God-shaped hole in your heart, and you know, when that's filled, then you really are satisfied. And I think that's where I'm at right now. You know, I'm very young in the faith, even though I grew up in it. So I mean, I do a lot of study, a lot of Bible study, things like that.
After about 2 weeks, Cheryl had gone. She'd gone to Chicago and said, I can't watch this, right?
Yeah.
But the cocaine was speaking a lot louder than her.
Yeah.
And finally, I looked in the mirror, and it looked like my makeup, but it was blood coming down. I think I might have been hallucinating. I don't know. Flushed the rock down the toilet and went to bed for 3 days. And I woke up and I called her and I said, it's done. And she goes, right. You know, she said, you have to prove it. And that was, you know, that was the beginning of our relationship coming back. Of course, one of the deals was we start going to church.
Yeah.
And we started going to North Phoenix Baptist. And there was a pastor there, Jackson, who was a Hell's Fire pastor.
Yeah.
And there's 6,000 people, and he was talking to me because I was a prodigal son.
Yeah.
Remember, I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor. My granddad was an evangelist. And when the band happened, it took me as far away as you could possibly. I was the poster boy for everything wrong.
Yeah.
And then when I got sober and everything, came back to the church, realizing that's where I belonged there. So we started going to, and you know, a lot of people say, you know, I came to Christ because my love of Jesus. I came to Christ because of my fear of God.
Wow.
I totally understood that hell was not getting high with Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Hell was going to be the worst place ever. In fear, I came back to the Lord. But I went to another church, and that pastor preached the love of Christ, which now you put the two together, and it was exactly right.
Yes. Well, you know, the Bible even says some saved by fear. You know, and there's a point where some people, they need the hell scared out of them.
I'm telling you, I had, because I knew if I died, and I knew, in other words, I knew who Christ was, Jesus Christ was, and I was denying him. Because I was living my own life and I was living my life without him. I knew that there had to either come a point where I either accepted Christ and started living that life, or if I died in this, I was in a lot of trouble. And that's what really motivated me.
What does that mean when you say accepted Christ? What does it mean to accept Christ?
Well, you know, I don't think we accept Christ. I think we accept the fact that he accepted us, you know. And I just got to a point of saying, I'm tired of this life. And I know that this is right. When people say, well, how do you know that? Put that into words. And I go, you can't put that into words. It's because God opens your eyes and he says, you know, and it's supernatural.
That's right.
And you try to tell that to people and they go, well, yeah, but so is voodoo and so is this. And I go, no, you don't understand. And I could never explain it to you. But when the Lord opens your eyes and you suddenly realize who you are and who he is, oh, it's a whole different world, you know. And right then, you know, I was baptized, and I went to my pastor and I said, I think I got to quit being Alice Cooper now. And he goes, really? He says, do you think God makes mistakes? And I went, no. He says, look where he put you. He put you in. He said, he put you in the exact camp of the Philistines, and you were basically the leader.
That's true.
So now, what if you're Alice Cooper, but what if you're now following Christ? And you're a rock star, but you don't live the rock star life. Your lifestyle is now your testimony. And that made total sense to me. Once you realize that Alice is a character, and that's another world over here. Here's the world of Alice Cooper. And so I'm not touring right now, so I'm over here. I'm in Solid Rock right now. So this is the world I'm in right now. I'm in Solid Rock. Tomorrow's a big tournament and this and that. People have to remind me I'm Alice Cooper. Because I totally kind of forget about it, you know. But in a couple months, I'm going to be back over here again. I respect Alice, the character, and I love the character. He's fun. He's my favorite rock star. Because we even talk about him in the third person.
I noticed that.
Yeah, we say, you know, what should Alice wear here? I don't think Alice would wear that. So he's totally divorced from me. I don't think like him when I'm on stage. I think like Alice. You know, and that's a different thing. You know, but again, with the career and all the stuff, hey, for one thing, I'm Christian. You know, and if you were going to put what's important in my life, Alice Cooper would be somewhere around 5th or 6th place. Christianity is basically your one-on-one relationship with Jesus. And so if you're a disciple of Jesus, you read, you absorb it, you try to live that life. You know, that doesn't say anywhere in there that I can't be a performer. Doesn't say anything in there that I can't, you know, be an artist. You know, I always question people when, especially the extremists. It's always the extremists that cause the trouble, you know. I said, would it be okay if I played Shakespeare then? Well, sure, Shakespeare's fine. I said, like Macbeth, would it be okay? Yeah. So it's about incest, witchcraft, a murder, and that's okay. Yeah, okay.
Because a lot of the times people criticize stuff they'll never read or never see anyway, right?
Yeah. Well,
they stay away from it.
It's rock and roll. Well, it can't be Christian, you know. And yeah, I'm not a Christian. I don't do Christian rock, but I'm a Christian that does rock. So, but I do study every day, and you know, every once in a while, if the teacher's not there on Wednesday morning, I teach Bible study. You know. But I mean,
what's your favorite part to teach? What's the part that makes your heart sing the most?
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, you can take any part of the Old or New Testament and find something in there that's going to apply to you in a modern day. It's not just that happened then. And I'm a true believer that whatever it says, it says. I don't think it's just all symbolic. You know, I think that it was if God could create the universe, he can certainly, you know, part the Red Sea. That would be pretty easy. I always introduce myself as the prodigal son, you know, because I grew up in a church. Then I went as far away as I could and then got reeled back in. And when I came back in, all the stuff that I was doing, what do I want? Another house, another this, another that, another that. What I was really looking for was that relationship back with Christ again. And when I found that, it didn't change what I did for a living, you know. I think I write differently now. I think when I write, I don't necessarily, when I wasn't a Christian, I was going, yeah, sure, sleep with anybody. You know, I don't believe that now. You know, I think that there's a moral core that we're missing. A lot of guys think, oh, just another religion. Okay, well, the last thing you want is religion in your life. What you want is Christ in your life. You don't want religion in your life. I think people judge Christians by other Christians. And immediately they think, well, you're Christian, so you can't do any wrong, and you're better than me. And I go, that's just the opposite. And when you become Christian, you become very aware of how far away you are. But again, you know, Satan uses that. Satan uses that as a weapon. You know, I'm Christian and I made a mistake. Oh, well, then you're not really a Christian.
Well, we're a work in progress, aren't we?
Well, exactly. But, you know, you'd be surprised how much that they have this image that you have to be perfect if you become a Christian. We'd like to be perfect, but we're certainly not going to be.
That's right.
You know, if you become a Christian, what you're saying is, I'm not God anymore.
Good point.
If you're saying, I'm not God anymore, everybody wants to be God. Even Christians have a hard time giving up your life. You know, that's the last thing they want to give up. Is the fact that I want to make my decisions.
Before, you always are self. you're always self-centered. You know, I mean, everything is for you. It's yourself is God, and we make lousy gods. Humans make really lousy gods, I think. So we've got to let God be God, and us be, you know, what we are. You know, and so I think that's what really changes is your focus on who you're serving. You're not serving you. You're serving Christ. You know, God's chipping away at your life all the time to try to make you more like Him. And that's what a Christian is a person that's being molded and shaped all their life.